Okay, so what we're going to learn today is how to create a grunge type signature in Photoshop. For this tutorial, you'll need to download some grunge brush packs if you don't already have some. You can download them from greycobra.com, this address here, and I'm just using grunge pack 1 and 2. Once you've downloaded them, you need to copy them into your Photoshop brushes directory. So here it's got C programs, files, Adobe, Photoshop, and you can see that my grunge brushes are there. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is select an image and crop that image using your magic wand tool, and just holding shift to select more, or alt to deselect the areas that you don't want. Okay, so I've already cropped one here and copied it across. So you just do that by edit copy and edit paste after you've selected it. Now you can move that around to your desired position. I copied that into a new image, so I'll just delete that and then go to File, New, and then the image size that I'm using, I'm making it large because the picture is large, with 1800, 600. It depends on how big your image is. My strategy is that I'm going to make it big and then I will resize it at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to paste that back there. Now the first step is we want to use the rectangle marquee tool, and we just want to select a section of the picture where there's plenty of color and just like a little column of it, and then press Control C and Control V to paste that onto a new layer. And then we want to go into Edit, Transform, and Scale. And then we just want to stretch that across and stretch it down just so you've got a nice bunch of colors there. The next step is to, well, I'll tick that, and then whilst holding Control, click your render image and then press Control C and Control V. Oh, undo. I want to hide that, and Control C and then Control V. Now we want to move that above the second layer, and then we've got the picture there. Now we just want to adjust the picture by going Transform and Rotate. Okay, so we'll just spin that around. Doesn't matter what angle or what it looks like. And then we're just going to stretch that out and go Image, Transform, Scale. Okay, so just doesn't really matter. So just something like that. Then give that a tick, and then go to Filter, Distort, Ripple. And the settings we want to use here is 250% and size large, so we're just going to hit OK. And that's given us that effect. And then if you're not sort of happy with that, you can filter it again by pressing Control F or go into Filter, Ripple. So I just want to get it pretty ripply. After that, we want to go into Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And then we'll just say about 6 pixels. 6 pixels. If you're using a smaller image, then it's 3 pixels. So just play around with it. You want it reasonably blurry. So I'm just going to hit OK. Then what you want to do next is change the blending mode to Dodge or to linear light. So let's Control Z, or to linear light, whatever you think looks better. So I'm going to go with Dodge. Now we want to hold shift and select layer 2 and 3 and then drag it down to the new layers button so it will make copies. So I got 2 copy and 3 copy. Then with the layer 2 and 3 copy, we want to merge the layers, and then we want to desaturate the layers by pressing by holding Control, Shift, and U key to desaturate that layer. Then we want to go into Filter, Pixelate, and Mosaic. Now, depending on the size of your picture, will depend on the cell size. So if you got it for smaller pictures, you might want to select, say, 20. But because ours is quite large, I'm going to select about 40. So just going to hit OK there. Then we want to apply a sharpen filter. So if we go into Filter, Sharpen, and Sharpen, now you can just hold Control and F to keep sharpening. Now it's up to you on how sharp you want it. Say you want a sort of tile looking effect, you can just keep sharpening. So I'm just going to take that one back and leave it there. Then you want to select the blending mode to soft light. Now we want to hold shift and select layer 2, 3 and 3 copy, and then drag those down to the new layer button so it makes duplicates of those layers. Then we want to merge these layers. Then we want to use our magic wand tool whilst holding shift to select just random parts of the image. So just going to select a few here just randomly. Then once you're happy with that, right click and select layer via copy, and that will create layer 4. Now we will delete the layer 3 copy 3 layer. Delete, yes, and then select the layer 4. Now we're going to rename this layer just by double clicking on the name, and we're going to call it pattern overlay. And then we want to right click on this layer and select blending options, and then select pattern overlay, and then just choose like a black type pattern. Leave the blending mode, select the blend mode to overlay, and capacity 100% and 100% link with layer, and then hit OK. This is the sort of result that you might get. Now we want to do some brushing with our grunge brushes. So if you haven't already selected your brushes, you need to go into or select the paintbrush tool and then select the brush up here, and then this button, and then you select load brushes, and you'll see and go to your directory that you copied your brushes. Select grunge pack 1 or 2, and then it will put them here in the list. Now we're just going to random go through the list here, and just only using black and white. We're just going to put some sprays there and just go through the whole list, or select your different brushes or your favorite brushes and just randomly paint there. But rather than painting it on the pattern overlay, create a new layer, and we'll call it brushes, and then do the painting on this layer with your brushes. So I'm just going to pause it and do some brushwork, and then come back. One other tip is adjusting the flow rate. Like you can, if you have it at 100%, it's going to put a white dot there. So sometimes it's better to have it at a lower flow percentage. Okay, so once you've done enough brushing, you want to select your pattern overlay layer and move it just above your brushes layer, and then it will end up something like that. Then what we want to do is create a new layer above the pattern overlay, and just set the blending mode to overlay, and then just paint with your grunge brushes some more randomly, just with the black and the white. Okay, so once you've done some more brushing, what we want to do next is paste your original picture so that it comes up here, and just put it in its right position. And then what we want to do is hold the control key and click on the box so it selects the render. Then we want to go to select and then feather. Now depending on how big your picture is will depend on how much you want to feather it, so we'll just say that number there, and then we want to select the mask button here just so that it blends in with the background there. Now we want to duplicate that layer, so layer 5 copy, and then select the blending mode to lighten, and then go into filter, blur, and Gaussian blur, and just use the same settings as you previously had, and then hit OK. Then we Then we want to adjust the opacity to about 60-70%, so just say 74. Next thing we want to do is select our original layer and then select duplicate layer and call layer 1 copy, and then we want to drag it to the top of the list so it brings it back up there. And then we want to desaturate the layer, so if you hold Control Shift and U, it will desaturate it, making it gray. Then we'll rename this layer to color. Now we're going to add some more color to this layer, so we're going to go into layer, new adjustment, and then color balance, and then just call it color balance 1, and then we want to put in 67 here, 60 to 70, 67 is alright, and then we want to do that again, so we select our color layer, then go into layer, new adjustment, color balance, call it color balance 2. This time we want to put around -60, then hit OK. Then we want to do that a third time, so we go into layer, new adjustment layer, color balance, OK. This time we want to put -66 and then hit OK. Then what we want to do is select the second color balance and then go to filter, render clouds, and then filter clouds, just add that a couple of times. Then select the third color balance layer, make sure your colors are reset, and then go to filter clouds, filter clouds, filter clouds. Now what we want to do is go to our original first layer and drag it all the way to the top, and then for the blending mode select overlay, and that should give us a sharp looking picture. So that's basically it. Now you can add some fancy text here and make it glowing or whatever, or with a fancy font, or you can add a border by creating a new layer. We'll just call it your border, and then we're just going to Control A, select all, and then go into edit, and then stroke, and then depending on how big your picture is, I'm gonna put 20 stroke 20 pixels, and then go into edit, stroke again. Now choose a different color, so let's pick orange, and then we'll make that at 10, and then using the magic wand tool, just select actually no, we'll just go into edit and then stroke again, and this time we'll go 5 and we'll change the color to black. Hit OK. Control. Then with that part selected, press the delete key and then select and deselect. Then what we want to do is go into the blending options and just select drop shadow and just use these settings here. Depending on the size of your image will depend on how, if you change these slightly. So I'm just going to hit OK on that. Then if you want to add some standard text, you just type it in and then go into blending options and then select bevel and emboss, and then we're gonna select outer bevel, change the depth and this size, and then we're gonna sort of chisel soft. We'll just play around with that so it looks like it's coming out, and then just give that a inner shadow or a satin overlay so it looks like it's part of a picture, or you can put in whatever text you like. Okay, so hope this has been a help to you. Good luck.